here's what's happening today. I have João Lima here. Big week for PTC. Who'd you see yesterday?
I saw a lot of people, but I think an important thing yesterday was that it was quite a positive day. There was a lot of positivity and good energy coming out of the conference because we've been focused on a lot of the challenges, so horsepower sessions and all that. But I think what you got out of the session, especially with Mark Genz's session, was that, yes, things are not great at the moment, but we can navigate this. This is not as bad as it was in 2001, 2008. And the industry is, it's safe is the wrong word, but the industry is stylish enough to kind of navigate things nicely and really long into the long term. There was another positive message that came out of all the conversations yesterday, was that people are not just now looking into the next 2-5 years. We are now talking about 20-30 year segments and how to really build the future of digital infrastructure, which clearly remains a very attractive asset for investment for both building and acquisitions and all that, despite the recession that's looming. I mean, we can't turn a blank eye on that, but I came out of it thinking it's probably not as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
You were talking a lot yesterday about regulations. Tell me what you learned about that.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of interesting stuff in there and a lot of geopolitics playing into this, and especially within the fiber and subsea space. It was very interesting. I went to a breakfast yesterday, which was very, very interesting. They made some really key points, and I have to read some of this around the globalization and protectionism, and then how this cannot be done by regulators. So whilst we're talking about regulations that are coming in, the industry still has a bit of a window frame that can go in and try and help them understand what's happening. Because once you regulate it, then the whole innovation is going to get very behind. So this has to be done with critical thinking and skills and technological skills. And this is where the industry can play a role. I think another interesting thing as well was that some countries, for instance, in the Middle East, we look at Kuwait, they don't regulate some of the big players like Google and Meta and all that, but they still accept them to come into the country. So there's a bit of a paradox playing there, which some subsea players are winning on that. But at the same time, you cannot really build the full economy. But that's very interesting because also what's happening within that space is that you see in countries that, I don't know, even 5-10 years ago, and certainly 100 years ago, they will not collaborate with each other, namely Israel and Egypt, for instance. And now they are allowing digital infrastructure to be deployed between borders. So that's massive, not just for the industry, but it's massive, historically massive, because you have rivals that have been around for thousands of years fighting each other, and digital infrastructure is kind of closing the borders. And then, of course, sovereignty, data protection, and being independent of other nations is driving a lot of demand. But an interesting aspect that someone mentioned yesterday was that that's also driving a lot of cross-border demand. So even though there's all this data protectionism where people are trying to impose laws within their borders, that's actually now creating a new market segment, which is, well, but we still need to communicate with another country. If you have a driverless car, you can't stop at the border of France to go into Belgium. That car needs to continue to drive. And of course, the EU is easier because we have the EU, but just give an example of a border. So it was interesting to see there's a new industry segment, not industry, but industry segment being born out of regulation. So again, digital infrastructure is beautiful, and the challenges become opportunities very quickly. And the PTC took 24 hours to have another opportunity.
Who are you looking forward to seeing today?
I mean, there's quite a few. So you've got a big CEO panel, and I mean, all of them have been doing quite amazing stuff. So, and I'm going to name, if you've got CEO of EdgeConneX, Randy Brookman. I mean, EdgeConneX, massive company. They are backed by equity. They're expanding in every continent on the planet. You've got Bruno Lopez, CEO of STT Global Data Centers. They are rumored, so he's not confirmed yet, but they are rumored to be looking at an IPO, which could give the company a market capitalization of about $5 billion, which is a massive thing. Into account that these businesses did not exist 10 years ago. So this is a very fast-moving, paced industry. You've got Andrew Power, who's now the CEO of Digital Realty. So he was named CEO literally like 2-3 months ago, probably less than that, I think. It was actually maybe December the 6th, I think. So this is the first time he's going to take to the stage at an event as CEO of Digital Realty, which is the second largest player in the world, the second most valuable data center REIT in the world after Equinix. So that's very interesting. You got Rangu Salgame from Princeton Digital Group. Princeton is backed by Mubadala. Mubadala is a giant in the financial world from the UAE. Princeton is expanding all over Asia and going to start to splur out a little bit to other geographies, which is going to be very interesting. They haven't announced it yet. And then that's all chaired by Madonna Park, so another RBC brain. She's really good at what she does. Yes, this is only one session. I mean, there's a lot more. I mean, I'm not going to name it all, but you've got sustainability and digital infrastructure with Google, Oracle. You've got edge panels, fiber, ESG. And then the ESG panel is quite interesting because it's built with people that have very diverging opinions. So there's going to be a debate there. And I think it's just worth mentioning the Special Olympics because that's a success case story of a massive movement. So this is kind of an Olympics version of sports, and they're going to have their event this year in Berlin, and they're going through a massive digitalization and modernization, and it's all on the back of people at this conference and the digital infrastructure that the players here give them, and they're building something amazing with thousands of sportsmanship.
Wow, look at that. All interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for filling me in.
There's more. As always, there's more.
There's more. Well, that's what's happening today. Have a great day at PTC 23.